So this is a review of Star Trek Lower Decks, Moist Vessel, fourth episode of the thing. Premise of the story is that they team up with a Tellarite crew to investigate a generation ship that's shaped like a bug. I think it's from TOS. Looks like it. And there's mummies on board. There's this like terraforming goo that's similar to the proto-matter from Star Trek 2 and 3, on the Genesis planet, except somehow not as violent. The Mariner makes an ass of herself in the meeting, so the captain decides, who's her mother, decides to make bad jobs for her to do, like clean the holodeck and clean carbon and do other things that involve the holodeck and stuff. So do other things. And meanwhile, whatever the Emerald, maybe, the Orion girl interrupts this guy's ascension in a meditation thingy class, and then he's he can't ascend, and that's going on in the background. It's a B story, and essentially, he's the Tellarite guy, who we wouldn't think would ever be a captain, activates the goo by accident by getting too close to the ship. Somehow that travels through space, but it's a cartoon. It infects the two ships, and the guy that was ascending is killed, but then revived by the goo. Sort of killed, I guess wounded. And then he ascends because he sacrificed himself. So he ascends, even though it doesn't really help them to get the ship out of there, but then they take it to a starbase and everything's okay. Except that Mariner is promoted to lieutenant to drive her crazy, and she figures out how to stop the goo, and save the ship. The ship is being torn apart and transformed into the goo, which is similar to that episode of Masks from TNG as well. A little bit of that too. So there's elements from Jung SuWon with meditation and ascension. There's elements of Masks, and in the Genesis device, there's elements of Classic Trek. They're just throwing everything in here. They're going to run out of ideas by the time they get to season 10. The end of the season, they're going to run out of ideas. They insult an admiral, and Mariner gets demoted at the end. He looks like it's Kelsey Grammer, but it was actually not. It was. It doesn't matter. It was somebody else. There's the review rundown thing, what I thought of it. New Mutants just came out somewhere, but I don't know. So that was something else that came out, but I'm not going to ramble about that, because that's not about that. This is about this episode called Moist Vessel. Very strange name. The Orion girl is obsessed with this dude that we don't even know. Next week we have Bulmer as a girlfriend. They think she's an alien or a holodeck creation or something. Looks kind of like Chris or Libby from Silly Trek. But in this one, it was more of a Jung SuWon episode. So that's Silly Trek as well. So Starship Locations as well. So there you go. Tellarite guy could just as easily have been a Cleanseye from that series, and not a Tellarite. They do the poker game scene in there too. They do a lot of gags and the visual gags. But if they actually are mother and daughter on the ship, it kind of doesn't make sense they would be, because that would be a conflict of interest. Even if, and basically everybody on the ship acts like they're a teenager, even though they're adults. So they do address the Orion girl's powers, because, like, indirectly, she becomes obsessed. If she's not using the power of the Orion thing, or whatever they have, she's not using it. It makes her obsessed with other people. It's kind of interesting. So she becomes clingy. Great. Well, is everybody neurotic on the ship? I mean, everybody. Even the Borg dude is a little neurotic. But if it was a Starship Locations, Silly Track, it would be. They would be. They'd all be neurotic. But yeah. So this one was written by an ex-Jung SuWon person. I don't know which one. Could have been Patrick Hitov, I suppose. I don't know. Who wrote that one? But yeah. They mentioned the Traveler and the Transitions guy, which was funny. They didn't refer to the Traveler, the writer Q. The Transitions guy. Apparently they could have looked up the name because that would have made sense, but they didn't. Transfigurations guy. Ew. Species could ascend to higher planes. Yeah, why didn't he do something about the alien ship too if he was going to be a Q or something? If it was that easy, then it took 2 years of training to do that, or whatever. Yeah, the ascension thing is kind of strange. She combines 3 different alien religions to try and help him. Yeah, sure. Whatever. Yeah, so that was Lower Decks episode 3. Yeah, got nothing else. It's a short review. It was fine. Yeah, so